and welcome back to the channel. I did mention that I was going to be recording again December 2020. It didn't happen, so here I am in 2021. So Happy New Year to subscribers and people that are just looking at this video on the off chance. I wanted to do a video on some Covid-19 lockdown clips that I had accumulated over time, mainly just for historical purposes and just as a bit of a reflection. And as we're in another lockdown, and obviously we had lockdown, then we had tiers, and then we're back down to a lockdown again, although they might be calling it tier 5, which is much better use of language in my opinion. Okay, so obviously we had a lockdown and it was nicer weather, so we were getting outside, even though they closed the parks, they haven't this time, going in the grass and going to some woodlands and also having some picnics, which again I don't think is allowed now, but it's very, very cold anyway. A lot of religious places had closed their doors or were very, very minimal. I remember taking a picture and just seeing like the red and white tape, like a bit like a police line, but it was red and white tape, to the Gurdwara where we used to go all the time, and now there are smaller Gurdwaras open or larger ones, but I'm not travelling to them. I do feel that the first lockdown really sent me into panic buy mode, because it was the first time anything like this had ever happened, and I think everyone has a different response, everyone has a different reaction that gets triggered. So with me, I panicked because our little one wasn't going to any children's centres, and I went there a lot in the week, and at children's centres all the toys are there for them. Like, although I'm not there not to do anything at all, like I am there to interact, it's not a nursery, I am there to interact. I didn't have to worry about messy play or about all these things like babies and blocks and balls, and all those kind of things. So I did have a panic, but in doing so I managed to invest in like units and boxes and things like that. So they weren't like throwaway toys, they were toys that can be used for a long time and storage that can be used. And I think I sound like I'm justifying that. I've gone off on that. But that was one thing, and I think this time round I can take a step back as a parent and see that, aha, this is what she's playing with, so we're going to play with this. And then maybe in a month's time or something, I will get something else that she might want to play with. I'm not immediately quickly going onto Amazon and going, oh my gosh, she needs to play with this, she's advancing and she's not getting enough. I think it's very easy to panic buy when you have online shopping. I think in times where there was obviously another pandemic, such as the plague, they would not have had that problem. So it's like, it's a two-way thing, isn't it? Because online shopping has allowed me to buy things that I would have put off if I hadn't been in the house so much. I have bought some more storage, I bought things like an electric toothbrush and creams in big tubs rather than tiny tubes, things like that can add up over time. So it really allowed me to look at where my money was going in terms of my values, because another thing that happened before, during the between time of lockdown, was things like swimming, like kick-starting swimming for me and our little one. So like I was saying with outdoor spaces, I think this time has really made me feel grateful for the outdoor spaces we do have around us. I don't have as much as someone that lives outside of London or in the countryside, but I do really feel that it's amazing for mental health, because I believe our brains literally need to have a change of scenery, because it just changes something, and it can like reboot you. It's similar to talking with someone that you really get along with, and it kind of like recharges you for the week, that kind of thing. So along with the lockdown and reflecting on that, and maybe it's brought up some things for you, I wanted to talk about projects. So I was going to do something on hobbies. However, I do feel with hobbies you can get some negative rep about it, because it's like you're trying to layer over how you feel with something else, or you're trying to escape from all the things around you. And I do think in this time some escapism is healthy, such as I've been watching a show called Schitt's Creek, and I don't watch shows, but on the odd hand that I watch a show rather than a documentary, I have a little bit of calm. And if it's 20 minutes a week of escapism, then I don't think that's a bad thing. There's a really great part in Austin Kleon, who wrote, and I have these two books behind me. He wrote Steal Like an Artist and Show the Work. They're both small books, really great books. So the first page is about the creative process, and it's in the page and it's taken from someone else, and it says in it about how you start off with a really great idea, and then you go down and you have all these doubts and worries, and you just think, oh god, it's never going to work, and then you finish the idea or the project. But you have to go through those motions of wanting to finish the project, of going through the process, whatever the process is. And I really feel like the creative process is something that you can really highlight and enjoy, and just use it to learn about yourself and grow in yourself. Because there's been a few times in this whole last year and this year that I've been making things, and some of it has been a bit like panic making or boredom as well. I made a busy board for our little one, and I made it with my husband, and it was woodwork, and the main thing I wanted to do was laminate some pictures, put them inside so that you can open them and see a picture inside. So it was a personalised busy board. But there were so many components, and I've learned that I do not like woodwork as a process, because there were so many little components to buy, and then I had to wait for them to come in the post, because this whole COVID time things are very late in coming to me, and I sometimes they just get lost. So for many weeks it stood as a plank of wood with all these pieces of paper on it that kept getting moved out of the way for me to actually replace that with the wood, and then we'd have to go and get something else, and then we got a glue gun because this wouldn't work, and things like that. So you learn about the process and about your level of patience in completing something. Another example would be I decided I really wanted to hand sew again, and I wanted to start from the very basics. So I got some felt and I hand sewed our child's name into felt, and then got sticky back Velcro, it's double-sided Velcro. It's really great because you can just peel it off things, and I wrote her name also in paint so that the letters could go on the paint, and she could match them up. And it's another thing I could have done when she's older, but I thought I'll just try it out now, and that kept me busy because it was, I think, around 6 letters, and it must have taken me an hour a letter, and I didn't do that in one go. I would have done that over like 2 months while, say, watching something or listening to a podcast. So that's another project that I kind of really thought to myself, oh, I really miss sewing. I really like sewing, and I want to do it more in an arty textile way because that's what I enjoy the most. So that's another thing, the creative process can often fill that space and then lead you on to your next thing. So it's interesting. With the projects you have, whether it be home organisation or creating something, because I think both those are happening at the moment. I know with my creative space a lot of things are changing in it, and I've done a lot of organisation, and I do feel like when you do the creative process you have like a start, a middle and an end. It's a bit like writing, if you're writing a story or writing a novel. Because you start off with this idea. So at the moment I'm doing some glue gunning. I really fancied just decorating all my journals for the new year. So you start with your gems and your glue gun, and I was self-learning just to do it. I haven't looked up any videos, I've just gone ahead and doing it. It's really fun. So with that I was glue gunning, and then I realised that I had loads of spaces and that I could either cover it with tiny gems or I could put some glitter glue inside it. So I've nearly finished, though I'm waiting for the glitter glue, and I'm waiting to see if that will even work. And things like that. You have that point of, will it work? And you have like doubts, like, is it even going to look good? Like, is this really making me happy now? And then as you come to the end, you find that it was a really fun thing, or you find out something else about yourself. However, this COVID-19 lockdown 2021 is for you, I hope that you too can find some inspiration and some time to be creative. There was a show called Grace and Perry's Art Club, which was on last year, and that's still on Channel 4, so that's a really great one to watch, because there's a lot of involvement, people talking. I definitely miss the fact that I'm not just out talking to people in a cafe or in a shop or at the park, because there is so much distancing. But then obviously the distancing is needed because the rate has gone up, which again really baffles me to how it's worse than it was. But thank you for watching today, and enjoy the creative process.